microphone in the audience. Do you want to just relay?
I love how it's the wisdom room for chess players.
Are we ready to begin? Obviously then for the Freestyle Chess Grand Slam Finals. And sitting here with Magnus Carlsen, Henric Buettner. I gotta start with you, Henric. South Africa is finally getting the best top chess players in the world to come here.
Yes, is it working?
I believe so.
Yeah, thank you very much. No, we are very, very happy to be here. Obviously, we know this hotel for a long time. We have, I think this is time for thanking very much to Luis and all his team of the hotel, FIDE Hotel, which is, in my view, one of the best hotels in the world, actually. Of course, anyway, here in South Africa and in Cape Town. And we are extremely happy to be here. We have planned this for a long time. Like at the beginning of the season, we said we're going to have the season's finale in South Africa. We want to, conquer the continents. So this is the 4th continent where we're having a tournament. This is actually our 7th tournament in this series. We started in Weissenhaus 24. We were Singapore in 24, and then this year again Weissenhaus, Paris, Karlsruhe, Las Vegas, and now here. So we have now conquered 4 continents, and I think it's specifically great to be in Africa. And I know that the African population, at least the people who are following it, are extremely really happy to have now such tournament here with Magnus and all the other great players. I think we have a top 8 people here, eight players. So yeah, it's fantastic, and we are very happy, very grateful, and we are excited to start this tournament.
And Magnus, you're back in South Africa. It's been a while since you were here last time.
Really has been. I was here 1999, I think around November, and hadn't really started playing a lot of chess back then. So it was a different time. It was family vacation. My father's sister and her family lived there, so we went to visit them, and we saw a lot of the country, like Johannesburg, where they were living, Kruger Park, Drakensberg Mountains, the Garden Route, and all the way to Cape Town. And I've always wanted to come back, but it hasn't really panned out. So I'm really happy to finally be back in this beautiful country. And I know people keep telling me that the city has changed and so on. And what can I say? It's still beautiful.
We don't have too long for this press conference, so I'm going to take some questions quite quickly from you guys. So if you have any particular questions, please direct them towards Jan or to Magnus. But who would like to start? Perfect.
Question for morning, guys. Question for Magnus. How enjoyable is it playing during an era where the game is evolving so quickly? We've got this format. I mean, we're about to watch underwater chess. It's an exciting time, it feels like.
Well, I think a lot of interesting things are happening for sure. I'm very grateful to Jan and his team for believing in FreeStyle and making it all come to life. And I truly believe that when it comes to longer chess lists, this is as good as it gets. It's just creativity and fight from the get-go. In terms of underwater chess, I'm a little bit uncertain because essentially my brain is all that I have, and anything that I perceive to be dangerous, then it's a little bit difficult for me. Meaning it's the only skill that I have. There are many other things that I'm grateful for, of course. So yeah, we'll see about that, but yeah, freestyle and everything that's happening there is I think great for chess, for fans, and not least for the players.
Please, if we can direct the mic to the front of the room, thank you.
Hi there. Yeah, question for any of the three speakers. Are there any further plans in your mind for Africa? Any of the countries, South Africa, or any of those?
Yes, I mean, we have started this tour when we had first did our test tournament as the GOAT Challenge, as Magnus of the greatest of all time chess players against the 7 best players in the world. And we had done that in February of last year. And that basically sparked the idea of doing like a real tour and really trying to do a professional tour in terms of like we don't want to be in competition with other tournaments and so on. We're actually very happy and grateful that these tournaments are there, and we have been so lucky also with this choosing, for example, now Hikaru Nakamura, obviously one of the top 8, his wife is giving birth right now, so he can't attend, so we had a replacement and we replaced him with Javokir Sindarov, and then later on it turned out he won the World Cup, so similar like Arjun Erigaisi, who is just now arriving today, he just won the Jerusalem Masters, right? So it's like we are very lucky also in our selections, but also with the qualifications. So we have then thought of an idea how we can make a professional chess league, like really something that is distinguishable to other chess tournaments. So just not another chess tournament where people can play. And this is why I always use the Formula One analogy, right? So there are many car drivers, there are many race drivers, there are many races and all kinds of race possibilities. And usually it's very boring watching fast cars drive by with no context, right? And then there came Formula One like 60 years ago, and they invented this super high energy sports, which basically also is now through the Netflix series Drive to Survive, and actually we have a similar, I just watched the trailer, what's coming out, it's going to be amazing next year, what Boardwalk has done, the production. So we are trying to bring chess to the non-chess player, similar like Formula One is bringing the motorsport to the non-car driver, to the non-race driver. So our intention is always try to make a show out of it and to really put the characters and the personal drama of the players and everything. So we have all of our characters. Obviously, we have the GOAT, right? Then we have Fabi, who's always number 2. He's the one. We have like the young players, as I said. We have the complete villain like Hans. We have Vincent, our German boy who is now moved up even to 4th place in the world, and so on. So and Levon, the oldest player in the field, he won the last tournament. So, and we are trying to really carve out these individual players to make them interesting and attractive to people who are not familiar with the chess world, who may know Magnus's name, but they don't know anybody else. So this is why we chose the color jacket, similar like the Formula One. So in terms of this whole, getting back to your question, setup, we thought like having a Formula One analogy, and we want to be one of the true global sports like Formula One, being present on all continents, which is why we have aspired from the beginning to be on as many continents as possible. And so we have managed to be on 4 continents now, so the only ones missing is Australia and South America, obviously. We are in talks there. We actually have an invitation from Melbourne, from the Grand Slam in Melbourne, to actually, because we do the crossover like we did in Las Vegas with all the great basketball players, we are doing the same at some point with the great tennis players, like Andy Murray, like all these great tennis players, they're all interested in chess. And also like that we bring it over, but it didn't work out with our schedule to go to Australia. It would have been in January, and so maybe we do it in 27. But similar to that, so we will definitely come back to Africa, and of course, it's clear that we are coming back to Cape Town. So when we are going back to Africa, if we are doing the final, I don't know next year, because we are also in discussions with great cities. We do the city showing. We have done Singapore as a city showcase. Las Vegas was also great, showing the city. And of course, Las Vegas doesn't need to be shown. It's known very much. But there are some cities that want to be showcased, and they we are in big discussions with like big money that they might sponsor the series in the end, and then we have the final in that city. So I can't promise anything, but definitely our intention is to go back to each continent, Africa especially, and there's no alternative in my view to Cape Town and South Africa.
Great.
Hi, thanks. Yes, I'd love to see freestyle chess growth to be the next Formula One. Is also ways of doing that maybe shorter time controls and getting into the esports World Cup? Is that maybe in the future as well?
Very, very good question. So yeah, the thing is, first of all, I mean, we have shortened the time. When we started it 1.5 years ago, Magnus said, you know, we wanted to have like play normal thinking time and so on. And so then in Paris, we discovered, especially, I mean, I'm not a chess expert. I can just organize tournaments, but we discovered that, or maybe Magnus can actually just also say some words to it, that we can actually shorten the time to 90 minutes back to 30 minutes, and so maybe when I finish, then he can relate to that shortening of the time period in freestyle chess. So and also, of course, we also wanted to be. We want to be a mass market sport, and we want to have all people interested in it. So this is why, for example, after Paris, we had a documentary that's ran on ESPN. There's a documentary actually out now, which we also produced on our Las Vegas show. You find it on, if anybody wants to see it. It's called Next Move, Freestyle Chess. Next Move. It's 55 minutes. It's a huge, great documentary on YouTube. It's really watchable, and we're going to do a similar for South Africa too, so it's going to be like an episode 2 on that. And so, in terms of trying to really make the sports more mass market consumable, this is why we are shortening the time period. Like players like Levan Aronian said, really the best is really 90 minutes and so on. Was like, yeah, but it's not really marketable. And so I think we have found the perfect format for freestyle chess with 30 minutes with time increments. We also have found in Las Vegas that we had a little bit difficulty if we have too many players and like the whole setup. So we have now also found the format, like this is the final, we have the final 8 players, but in the future tournaments we have 12 players, and we're gonna have only 4 tournament dates, which was also the possibility by shortening it. Before we had 8 tournament days in the beginning. So now with the shorter time period, we can do the quarterfinal, the semi-final, and the final each in one day. And we have a round robin before for the 12 players in 2 groups, 6 and 6, 4 advanced each. So that's a very simple system. Everybody can understand it. And so that's for that time period. And then in addition, we are in discussion actually, maybe integrating rapid or blitz or maybe even esports. But that's maybe a longer thing. But maybe Magnus can also relate to that as it concerns the chess game itself and how much time do you need as a player and what is a good format in the freestyle format.
Yeah, for sure. As a chess player, I think you have several concerns, but mostly thinking of what is both playable and you want to make it exciting as well. I think you want to have a good product in the sense that you want the players to have enough time to play well, but you also maybe don't want it to take too much time. And I think what has happened is that in these tournaments that we've played, the players have become a lot better, especially in the opening phase, at sort of grasping the ideas of the positions. Now we're still going to make tons of mistakes that can be frustrating for the players, but also a lot of people like to see, but I think it's still going to feel both for players and for others as we understand what's going on a little bit more than we did in the past, and everybody's kind of doing the journey of discovering things together. And now that we have gotten a little bit better, then it's possible to shorten the time controls and still have decent quality. And as to what Jan spoke to in Paris, that was, I think, a big step forward, because we had a preliminary tournament there where we had 10-minute games, and the quality was just so much higher than just even the tournament we had before in Huisnaus, and I think in Vegas, obviously my performance wasn't that great, but in terms of the overall quality, it was also a step forward. So yeah, that's my my perspective, and I feel on a personal note, I feel that the time control that we have now, it works out well. There's enough time to explore, to get the essence, and that's all that I as a player that I really wanted from this format.
I'll toss in a question for you as well, Magnus, because it's been one of my favorite storylines of the year. It's really been freestyle chess breaking down walls and kind of taking on the established chess world. We've had the contours of some drama between freestyle and the more established chess world. It seems like that is settling, but do you enjoy that part of it? Do you enjoy breaking down some walls? Do they need it?
Yeah, for sure. I think there are a lot of things about people's perceptions about chess that are quite a bit outdated. I think, for instance, the fact that Nakamura is going around playing these, as he calls it himself, referring to something I said many years ago, Mickey Mouse tournaments, in order to qualify for the candidates, in order to play the 40 games that are required by FIDE. I think that's absolutely, it's wild, it's insane. Why would you require somebody who's very clearly good enough to play in the candidates? Why would you require him to play these tournaments, which he doesn't really have time for? Well, you want to have the best players in the candidates, and he's clearly one of them. You also want to have active players. Well, he may not play classical all the time, but he plays tournaments every single week online. His job is still, while he's streaming, his job is still playing chess. So every time that he plays classical, he proves that he is one of the very best players in the world. I don't think he's had a single bad tournament in 4 or 5 years, and so why would you then require him to play those 40 games? That's one of the things which I think it's kind of holding the chess world back a bit, is that there's still so much emphasis on kind of normal classical chess being the gold standard, and I think we're seeing more and more that there's so much more. And guess what? The players that don't focus on playing classical tournaments every day, when they do play classical tournaments, they're not getting worse. They're not getting worse by playing freestyle, by playing rapid, by playing the Esports World Cup and so on. So yeah, I think that's a bit. You see Vincent as well prove his worth in Vice now, and now his classical rating is finally catching up to that as well. So whether I enjoy the clashes or not, well, it riles me up sometimes, but apart from that, I personally play the tournaments that I enjoy. I think the whole discussion with FIDE back in the day, with them threatening players, trying to assert their rights in something they didn't have the right for, that whole discussion was stupid, but that's how it is at this point. But I think overall the discourse in the chess world when it comes to these things it's a little bit outdated, and I certainly want to change that.
Anyone else? Yes, please.
Yeah. Question for Magnus, just to follow up on the time controls and stuff. FIDE just had a pilot at the Women's World Team Championships, where they had a time control 45 minutes plus 30 seconds to be rated as classical chess. Do you applaud that pilot, and do you see that in the future?
Yeah. So the way that I see the way that I see chess is that it's supposed to be challenging, and the problem is that classical, as it has been played in the past, it is not challenging enough. That's simply how I feel, especially now that it is so easy to survive in the openings. So I very much applaud that. I think as chess players, one thing that is ingrained in us and is not that hard to is not that easy to change, is that ratings mean something, and when you classically rate those tournaments, that means something. That's why it means something to get a rating for freestyle as well. So I applaud that. The shorter time controls also means that some of the safety blanket is away. You're not getting that second or even third time control to be able to easily survive worse endgames when you got to that point, which is something that we've seen in Norway chess, that there's been more decisive games, and that's partly exactly because of that. You have more than enough time to play a very good game. Guess what? You're not getting extra time after 40 moves as you're used to, and if you don't adapt to that, then it's gonna be tough. And it's the same thing with 45 minutes. It's oceans of time to think, especially if you get 30 seconds increment. But still, you gotta use it. You gotta use it well. So, yeah, I think it's a much needed. It's a great change, and I will give FIDE that they do eventually adapt to a lot of things. It sometimes takes a bit of time, but that's still a positive development for sure.
I have a question for you, Jan. I mean, we're looking at the financial viability of creating something like this. You've now kept it going for nearly 2 years. What's your thoughts on how this is gonna be sustainable? I mean, you're fighting on a bit different turf than what FIDE is. They have their kind of sponsors. You're going more into the more commercial world. Are they embracing it?
Yes, not as fast as I would have hoped in the beginning, but if somebody looks at my career, what I have done over the last, like say, 40 years of my business life, I've always been way, not too early, but way early, and it takes much more time than I usually think. So my initial, naive thinking was like the Louis Vuittons and Hugo Bosses of the world would kind of like immediately jump on this. We have talked to them, they have visited us, they love us, and so on. But these, as we call it, fast mover consumer goods, they are basically following, and they are definitely sponsoring at some point. But first of all, we have to close on the deals, which actually just Thomas, who is just entering from another. He's done a great job in the last months of visiting a lot of conferences and going on the nerves of a lot of people. So we see some crypto, some finance, some out of these industries we're going to see sponsors. We're going to talk about 7-figure deals right now, so it's going to happen. As it takes a little bit of time, so that's the one side on the monetization in terms of getting the revenue from the sponsors. Second point is, as I said, from the host city fees. We are talking to some significant players, and we're talking about actually 8 to 9 figure sums for a period of time with some interested cities that might really be a top sponsor, like we do in 5-year contract deals. And so we're again looking for Formula One, but these things take time. And for that, we needed venture capital, of course, and this is what has had been my from the beginning. So we actually did venture capital raising. Actually, we took in $25 million, which I think is a lot of money. We actually invested it nearly all already, so in the tournament. So we are still in another round of financing right now. So there are some other players coming on board, and the venture capital industry usually they understand that they are funding. Not a profitable business, but in some cases even a non-revenue business. I mean, look at even the biggest, if I look at ChatGPT and OpenAI, they're losing $1 billion a month, right? So it's like we are not there, but we are definitely not on a profitable path right now. But our goal is next year to become event level profitable. So on an event level, being profitable, and then the overall profitability should be in 2027. That's our current plan. Again, it might shift a little bit, but with the right partners on board, we are talking to quite some interesting parties. We're going to get there because we have created already a huge asset. I mean, this 25 million, you see what it is. It is a worldwide phenomenon. We have created not only like a new type of sports, like similar, thanks to Magnus and his idea to put it around Fisher Random, and we branded this, all the discussion we talked about the time format, but also it's like when we had, for example, Derrick Rose, a good friend of ours now, an investor, he was like in Las Vegas, he made the comparison with the basketball change. When they changed like the rule that they have a 3-point line, so that they had this additional thing that changed the game completely, think about that. He told me that. I was like, okay, that's very interesting analogy, because now you have these players who can score 3 points from afar, totally different skills, then the guys go like strong to the dunk in and like be on them. So this is kind of similar that we see also with freestyle. Maybe there are some other qualities in players that are interesting to see about. So we, on one hand, we are changing the sport to be more interesting, more fun, more sexy. The whole surrounding, like what we do with the color jackets and all this kind of stuff, it's making it more appealing for the people. We are creating a new professional league of a sport, similar like PGA or whatever. So like this is why also the next step will be that I'm taking a step back in the not so distant future, and we're gonna make it more for the players. So that is really a players thing. That is their league. I'm seeing it more like ATP tennis. It's so it's a league of the players for the players professionally. So that's kind of the next step. And during that we have to do the monetization. So that's kind of so we have to also see like where it is. So that there was a great analogy also. We are trying to get into the esports. We are developing some software, some of our players and our surroundings, we are developing some software that the people can kind of also participate. The betting thing is a very difficult thing. It's very regulated worldwide, so we have to maybe take a little step back there. But at least that the active participation can be, maybe the players can, the audience can invest in the players. We're talking about ideas of tokenization. All these kinds of ideas in the future. But the goal is the same from the beginning, making it the professional chess league. And maybe that's also a good part where we are still in discussion with FIDE, and we are not hostile to them, but it's like, them taking care of the amateur and we are doing the professional side. So that's kind of an idea where we are looking into the future.
Yeah, we're running a bit on time here, so we'll take some final question, but if you could direct your question directly to who you want to speak to.
Yeah, sure. Question for Magnus. What does ideal preparation for this kind of tournament look like?
That depends really, but the last few months, I mean, I've been mostly focused on taking care of my son, and that's been preparation. I mean, honestly, in the past, I think we did a lot of preparation for the first tournament in Weissenhaus in 2024, and then I felt when the tournament came, I had too many thoughts in my head, and ever since then I've sort of sought to simplify and take it a bit more as it comes. So I don't know, but usually for me, like here, I get a few days to acclimatize and prepare for the tournament when I'm here, and that's usually enough.
Just as I wanted to say, but there has not been a question to that, but I wanted to get this through. So what is actually happening specifically, right? So we are here at the Silo Hotel today. We're leaving tomorrow. The actual tournament will take place in Cottbus near Hermanus. So that's where the tournament is going to be. And we're going to stream the tournament, the 4 days, on the 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, back to the waterfront. And you know, they have this wonderful auditorium. If you didn't see it, you have to go like in the waterfront. There's like, I don't know how many seats there are, like 700 seats or whatever. So it's a big auditorium with a huge screen, directly in the line of the people, millions of people who walk past there. And we have created, we are going to put on a great show. One of our super grandmasters who have not qualified as a top 8 is FIDE, and he is going to host it with 2 of the well-known radio hosts of South Africa. So they will put on a great show for all the time while we are playing in Cottbus. Actually, I'm going to go back and look at it at one time. Of course, the players can't do it, so this is why I encourage Magnus and the players to kind of take a look at the auditorium so that they see what's going to happen. And so in terms of our social media activities, and as I said, we are very much looking forward to bringing it to the masses. So for us, not only the game days are important, but also what we do around it. And so this is why for this we have done a specific interesting thing, and after the press conference we're all going up and see what we have prepared there. So it's called diving chess. It's not really diving because it's more underwater chess, because it's not like diving. I think it's 1.20 meters deep, so it's not really a diving, but you go back and forth. So it's very interesting, so that the players don't have time control. They have basically, the one player goes down, makes a move, and then when he comes up, the other one has to go down. He has time as much as he has air for making his move. So that's kind of thing. There is actually a world champion in underwater chess, Michael. He's actually here. And so what we are doing, we have split the group in 2. So we have 4 players playing the underwater chess, which is Vidit, Javokir, Hans, and who's the 4th? Fabi, of course, yeah. So those 4 are playing, and they're playing semi-final, and then final, and for 3rd place. They're getting these medals for underwater chess. And the winner will take on the world champion of underwater chess. So, Mika, and so anyway, as Magnus is not part of this group, he has decided to go to the other group. The other group is going to local chess clubs, the community, and making some community and social work and talking to them. But they will come back. So maybe if Magnus wants, he can also take on the world champion in underwater chess, like in a fun game, or take on the winner. So it's kind of this is a fun thing. It's just medals, and we have like a super cup for the winner of the world champion of underwater chess against the winner of this tournament. So it's like a little bit. But that's what we're doing here. As I said, the social media for that, and then when we go to Cottbus, we're going to have 2 more social media days. So we're just like on the 6th and 7th. We're going to have some activities. We'll have horse riding, we have helicopter rides, we have shark cage diving, we have all this kind of stuff. We see our great superstars enjoy themselves by doing some things. And we're visiting also a local chess school in Stanford. So and then we have the tournament, very serious, and then that's kind of our game here, what we're doing. So.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to watching the underwater chess, guys. Thank you so much, everyone, for showing up for this press conference. For those who wishes to take pictures, I recommend that you move ahead to get your pictures through. And thank you so much.
Magnus, we have the short interview scheduled with Fred.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Hey,
How's
nice.
Africa?
Super.
Yes.